Before the claws, before the adamantium, there was just a boy named James, and one fateful night that changed everything. Born in the late 1800s to a wealthy but dysfunctional family, young James discovered his true nature in the most violent way possible. His claws first emerged the night he killed the man who he would later learn was his biological father. Filled with horror, grief, and confusion, James ran from his home. Together with his brother Victor, they fled into the wilderness. For decades, these brothers fought side by side in some of the world's bloodiest wars, from World War I to World War II. But Victor was consumed by the violence. It wasn't long before his brutality drew them apart. Years later, fate brought the brothers together again, but they were no longer the same men. Victor, now Sabretooth, had grown more savage. Their reunion wasn't a family affair, it was a battlefield. In a brutal fight, Victor shattered Logan's claws, leaving him broken and defeated. In his rage, Logan believed Victor had killed the love of his life. This pain pushed Logan into the arms of Weapon X, a top-secret military experiment that turned men into weapons. This same program created Captain America, under the guidance of Dr. Erskine. But after Erskine's death, the program took a dark turn, and James, once a man, became the Wolverine. Now that we've covered Logan's past, let's focus on what truly makes him Wolverine. Before the weaponization of adamantium, Wolverine's claws were raw bone, a natural mutation embedded in his anatomy. His body, much like any other humans, had a standard skeletal bones, but what made Logan different was the 6 extra bones in his forearms that formed his claws. Each time he extended them, these bone claws shredded the soft tissues in his arms and hands, severing nerves and tearing apart veins. His powerful healing factor ensures Wolverine's body repairs itself instantly. This constant destruction and regeneration would be unbearable for anyone else. The psychological strain alone would be enough to break most people, but even these effects are blunted by Wolverine's healing ability. It is why alcohol has no effect on him. His body neutralizes toxins in no time. The adamantium claws Wolverine wields today were born out of necessity. After Victor nearly destroyed him, the Weapon X program grafted indestructible adamantium into his entire skeleton, including his claws. This process is similar to osseointegration, where bone integrates and bonds with metal. However, in Wolverine's case, his healing factor made the integration flawless. His nerves, once connected to bone claws, adapted to control these metal ones, allowing him to extend and retract his adamantium claws at will. But Wolverine's claws aren't just physical. Over time, the emotional toll on him became clear. His healing powers couldn't protect him from the weight of his past. In Logan 2017, we witness an aging Wolverine struggling to even retract his claws. In one moment, we see him pulling them out by hand, a symbol of his body's betrayal and the emotional exhaustion of a lifetime filled with loss. His healing powers could mend his wounds, but they couldn't heal his grief. In Deadpool and Wolverine, we see a similar scene where the emotional impact leaves him unable to fully control his claws. This physical decline reflects his deep emotional exhaustion and the grief that weighs on his soul. The loss of the X-Men, his own self-loathing, it all affects his powers. That was just the beginning of Wolverine's story and his powers, but we haven't touched on one of his most mind-blowing abilities. In the next video, we'll explore through the unpredictable world of Deadpool.